Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, welcome to Dat Roman View. I told you we were going to have a firearms trainer on. Today I have Jeremy from over here, Middle Tennessee Firearms Training. And we're going
Great to be here.
Thanks. I'm glad to have you here. Today we're just going to talk about the importance of firearms training, how you became a firearms instructor, and kind of our full circle of how we came. Especially today, I just want to give a little bit of background. Jeremy and I have known each other probably close to like 20 years.
Coming up on that.
Yeah, long time.
We're
Oh,
old.
man, we're old. Yeah, we don't want to talk about how old. You got the dad bods going on now. It's been that long. So we're talking about how we came to be. A lot of us came to be through Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, man, that was back in the day. So yeah, let's go back a ways. We're talking 2010 era. It's been a while. Call of Duty, GameStop. I mean, you were a manager there.
Mm-hmm.
I hopped in there just for the hobby of it, and let me tell you, two guys that just I think hit it off right away.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I stepped in a little bit of it because you're like, this guy's going to get me in some HR trouble.
Yeah, I had those days. I was like, oh, stop. Just stop.
As long as you had, deniability there and you said, I told him to stop, it's all good. But those were some, that's right, had to reel it back in. I can remember those days having district managers pop in and out, and that was
RD in our
home
store.
I know. Now that was something for me, let's chase one here with this. I worked for another video game store company for a long time, and we all would pretty much mess the bed if our regional director of the company was visiting our store. This store in Spring Hill was home to the regional director dude, right?
Yes.
Like, I just remember him walking in, and I'm going, are we supposed to be like how we split you want? And then I found out he's just a really cool dude. Regular person just like us, and that we were pretty much ruled by communists in the other company.
Yeah, right.
So that's part of it. But yeah, we had a good time there. Call of Duty. That's funny you say that. That was the game back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it still is, but Battlefield now.
Two different games. I mean, hey, that's a whole nother episode.
It is. We won't even chase that one.
We're here for firearms training.
Right.
Okay.
Which don't depend on Call of Duty for that.
No. Not at all.
No.
Or even how weapons really handle, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. So let's get started. So, your passion. How did this all come to be?
It is a fun little story. Maybe not. We'll see what y'all think of this. But I don't even think I've actually told you this, even off camera. I haven't told you how I got into this. So this all started really pre-COVID. 2019, rolling into 2020. I was working part-time in a gun store. Little hobby job there that actually ended up costing me more money than ever I was making there, because I was pretty much just signing checks over to the store and be like, I would like this, I would like that, and yes, more of this ammo. So started there, and as I was working there, me and the other main guy working started noticing right away the biggest thing that was missing in our community was so many people would come in, they'd buy a handgun, and then they'd say, give me a box of hollow points. And we're like, okay, you need target rounds? No, I'm just going to load this up, and this is my home defense gun, or this is my truck gun. This is going to be with me. All I got to do is point and shoot. And the more I sat back and thought about it, I'm like, that's really scary, because I've been on church safety team now for, goodness, I started doing that in 2013. So serving on a safety team and then seeing guys even at church who carry. And not a knock on them. I appreciate them taking the initiative and taking that role as a protector in that realm. But the scary thing was I saw how they handled a firearm. I saw how they talked about it, and then they talk about they didn't train. And so that was super sketch. So me and the other guy that worked at this gun store, we sat back one day, and I had just bought some property, 25 acres, and I had set up my own shooting range because I love to dabble in IDPA, any kind of competitive shooting. I love that. I was living and breathing that. In fact, I would go ahead and argue now that helped develop a lot more of my skills than just going to a 6-hour class and trying to learn on my own. The IDPA stuff inspired me to do a lot more dry fire practice. And I'm not talking about just target transitions. That's a key element of it, but just holster draw, presentation, weapon manipulations, all those things that I didn't realize how slow I was at until I saw it A on camera, B, and saw how much time was taken on the little brain scrambling devices that they have at these matches. You hear beep and suddenly your brain locks up and you're like, what was I doing again? Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do all this. So that was really hanging in my brain a good bit. And me and this guy just said, you know what? Got the property for it. Why don't we just grab some certifications, and we're both pretty good shooters now. Can we instruct? This is the part where I would tell people to this day, and I've told fellow instructors that I've come across, I did things backwards. If I could go back and do it all over again, would I change anything? I changed a couple things, and that was how much training I was doing at the time. 1 or 2 classes a year, and then it'd be a break period, and then maybe sneak into another class. Ultimately, what I learned in the first 6 months after grabbing my certification was we have tapped into a world. We oftentimes say, you don't know what you don't know. Like, we can hear that in every element of anything, really. I mean, think about it. And that's scary. The stuff that you don't realize you don't know, and you think you know something. And so jumping into that, I realized immediately, it was like, we weren't doing a bad job. We were working mainly beginner to, I want to say it's subjective, what we could call beginner and level 1, level 2, level 3. It's all based on what the instructor's skill set is and what they're planning to teach. But we weren't out of our lane. It was just one of those like, man, we have so much further we could go with this. Rifle training, advanced classes that induce stress and get your heart rate up and things like that. So I got a little taste of that, and it became an addiction. Training did. And so training with anywhere from small town guys locally here in Tennessee to guys that travel the country. I'll name drop one that just is fun and has been a key element to development here. Is Mickey Shook of Carry Trainer. Look him up if you want. A little plug there for him. Sorry, maybe not. But I caught this dude, no joke, through a YouTube video because I had been browsing some other content and some other people that I was looking to train with, really, and came across one of his videos and really thought it was a parody at first. I was like, "There's no way this dude's legit. This is a joke." And then saw all the videos on his training, saw all these things, and realized I need to go hit this dude up. I'll even take you back one step behind that is my very first class, the very first class we ever did, which was in November of 2021, Black Friday weekend. I don't know why I would schedule a class on Black Friday weekend, but some dudes were like, I'm not getting out involved in all the hoopla, so let's go take a class.
The wife's shopping.
That's
so
right.
I'm
The wife's
here.
Well, guess what? It was a couples class. It was a couples class. Yeah, let's get the husband and wife out of the shopping stores and into a class shooting pistols. 2 of the dudes there were instructors, and the wives of instructors. So I as soon as I noticed a name come across in the way he paid, and it was the name of his company, I'll name drop them too. Patriot Training. They're out of McMinnville, Tennessee. Phenomenal trainers there, and Clay Howell's awesome. I sent an email to this guy. I'm like, dude, what's your angle? Because here's what we could relate to and how we can figure this out. Guys, when we're in sales, when we're working GameStop back in the day, working those high pressure sales where they got to get so many pre-orders, they got to go, all the add-ons, you're competing against other stores. There's like, you're on the same team, but you're not, right? Like,
and if you remember the old GS days, they had several stores that were right next door to each other.
Yeah.
Like 3.
And it was like, oh, you work over there, like you're part of the team, but you're not. Nope. We hate you. We're going to do better than you. And there was smack talk there. And so when I switched over to instructing, and I saw instructors coming,
paranoid?
Super paranoid, because I'm like, they're here and they are checking me out, or they're here to torpedo the business, kind of thing. So what is their angle? So I emailed this guy. I said, hey man, in much nicer words, without Chat GPT, it didn't exist. So
Yeah.
I had to put in nicer words and basically said, what's your angle here? What are you doing? And I got back. I joke. He jokes. I don't joke. It was like a novel response, like page after page after page. Maybe it felt that way because I had to scroll on my phone a lot. But if it was on a computer screen, it was probably like 4 lines.
Right.
So anyways, it basically just he's saying, hey, it just looked like a good time to you've got something interesting here. It's priced pretty low for what I was, for what he's looking for, but it's a weekend. We're not going shopping, and the wife's going to come along. This is going to be great, and I promise you, at the very end of it all, at the very least, I'm probably going to steal something from your class. And that's a compliment.
What do they say? That's like the best form of flattery.
I know that now. Back then, it was more of a, heck, you will steal something from my class. I'm putting my name on all of it. So again, that was a part of me that did not know what I did not know, and also a part of me that you could say is scarred from high pressure sales. Is that good instructors, we're all on the same team. We want the same goal: well-trained, responsibly armed citizens that are able to perform righteous cause if it calls for that, right?
Well, and one thing I want to say is, when you talk about people needing training, especially if you've ever been at a range and somebody that you hear comes up next to you in the Range Rover and says, yeah, I just got this gun for Christmas, and I never shot a gun. I just want to shoot it, and they're by themselves.
Yeah.
And there happened to be a guy there that, I'll help you. And I don't know who he was, but I was just thinking, I don't know if I want to be next to them. We actually moved forward on the range because they were divided by berms. I don't want to say where we were at. I mean, maybe it doesn't hurt. I don't know. We were at Eagle Eye, I think it was.
It doesn't hurt anything.
But anyway, we were there, and like I said, we moved forward because we didn't know.
Right.
It was just kind of scary.
I would say public ranges are some of the scariest places if you are. It depends on the range, but they can be some of the, especially indoor ranges. I know they got cameras, and a lot of times if they're really good, and on top of it, they have a really good RSO, which is fantastic. But public ranges can be very scary. They really can, and they can be overly intimidating. I can remember my first time at an indoor range, and by myself was learning to load and unload this XD45. Never shot before, people, so like we laugh sometimes at how people do things. If it's their first time, they don't know, and we have to remember our first time. I can remember in thinking, I got my grouping like this, and so hey, it's all on paper, it's all good, and you're at 7 yards.
That's a start. Well, it's a start.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the beginning of it. But yeah, so public ranges, it can be a scary thing, but that is kind of how I dove into this, and he wasn't lying though. Clay Howell wasn't lying. We get to the end of this couples class. It went very smoothly, by the way. We all had a good time. The most important thing when we do these couples classes, especially, is my wife co-instructs now. And what we're trying to do is help people understand that it's not just important for one person in the house to know what they're doing with firearms. It's also not important. It's very important that not just one person is capable. If you're out with your wife or you're out with your spouse, say whatever, what have you, and you go down or you are separated from your spouse and something pops off, are they capable? Do they have something with them? Do they know what they're going to do? So that's something else we mentioned too in these classes is the importance of planning. Hey, maybe your spouse isn't going to be the one to respond to a threat. Maybe her responsibility in that, I say her, gosh, this is like a sexist would say, but I'm going to say right now, it's my wife and I have an agreement that if we're out with the kids, her immediate response is kids. If we're together, her immediate response is kids. And she'll tell you right now, that is her passion. She will do anything for those kids, as will I. Now that I know that I have someone next to me who's taking on that responsibility, that leaves me up to be aware and focus on whatever. There might be a threat. There might be a situation where we've got something, what we call a DLR, just don't look right. and I can keep eyes on that while she skidoos out of there with the kids. We talk about that all the time for church safety reasons. But at the end of that class, he comes to me and he says, Jeremy, walk with me for a minute. He's got his notebook. Now, my first reaction here was, this dude's going to kill me on my own range. We're out in the middle of nowhere. He's going to bury me. His instructor buddy is going to be the one digging the hole because they're both from the same outfit. Jeff, if you catch this, thank you. But he walks and he's flipping through pages. He's like, I got like 3 notes for you. And I'm like, here we go. This is it. This sucked. No. He says, first things, I love the branding. We had pretty good signage out there for our first class. He says, number 2, have a handout. We didn't have a handout our first time. It was just taking notes, whatever you wanted to take notes on. Very little class time. It was more live fire time than anything else. And then third thing was, there was 4 actually. Third thing was, have a certificate to give. Don't email. So my plan at that time to save money was to don't print the certificates, just email them certificates when they're done. But no, having a physical one to put in their hands, that's 101 stuff. Again, didn't know what we didn't know, and I was trying to save money at that point. Like you're starting small business, save money where you can, right? So there was
paper and some ink.
That's right. Hey, ink's not cheap.
Well, no, I know.
Right. So, anyways, so the last thing was charge more. Now, let me tell you what we were charging for our first class, a couples class. We were charging $125 for our regular defensive pistol class per person for like a 7-hour day. For couples class, we were charging $175 or $150. It was $150, so $75 a person, right?
Yeah,
I know, stupid cheap, right? But at the beginning, I was like, hey, we don't want to charge too much at the beginning because that could steer some people off. They haven't heard about us yet. So my plan was that the original was like, hey, let's charge a little, and then we can, later on maybe up it a little bit. But he looked at me and says, you've got a great product here. This was great hands-on training. You and Chris were awesome. Charge more. And he's like, that's it. I'm like, Clay, you wrote pages and pages of notes. And he's like, oh, that's all stuff I'm stealing. He's like one of his favorite things, and I heard this from another instructor. This isn't mine, but another instructor once told me, told every class, don't let this be the end of your training. So don't think because you have one class, don't think you're squared away. It's a long journey, and it's a constant journey because we're never going to get there. We're never going to get we have goals. We can achieve the goals along the way, but it's going to be something where you are constantly updating. Hey, there's a new way of doing this. Hey, maybe you've changed carry guns after 5 years. By the way, changing carry guns, don't just buy the new gun, slap the hollow points in it, and go, and with a different holster. My general rule of thumb is I like to shoot a couple IDPA matches with said gun that's like a candidate to become a carry gun. Shoot a couple IDPA matches with it. I like to get 700 to 1,000 rounds. 700 to 1,000 rounds in it before I deem it ready to carry. Why do I say that now? Because actually I've got one that's a candidate right now, and the first 2 times I had it out, the optic kept coming loose. Now, some of you out there, you keyboard warriors, you're going to say, Loctite it. It was Loctited. I had to actually swap screws from manufacturer, and then now it's held on the last 4 or 5 times I've had it out there. So that's good. But, yeah, you got to train with your gear. You got to train with your gear, and you got to stay up to date with your gear.
You know how it'll function. And
yeah.
Maybe it might have a break-in period.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that is a thing. By the way, when they say there's a break-in period, generally, 250 to 300 rounds, a lot of them will say that. I don't like I dumped 100 rounds to it. This is one people have a struggle with, is buying hollow points to make sure they run through the gun. People will buy a box of hollow points, load it, and even if they've taken range ammo out, and they're like, oh, it eats this range ammo, it eats all kinds. Let me just load this. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're going to do this and trust your life with it, and the lives around you with it, you want to make sure that the hollow points you buy feed and cycle. And I don't mean sit there and just rack it and just do that. No, go dump 100 to 125 rounds of that said type of ammo through the gun, make sure it feeds and cycles properly.
I need to do that.
Hey, look, we're all guilty of it sometimes. Like, you know, like you're like, man, it's like $1 a round or 80 cents a round. I get it. But
you're putting your life on it.
You're betting your life on it that if you ever need it, you need it to work past the first round, probably.
Hence,
unless your name's Jack Wilson out there at that church shooting in Texas where you just won.
Didn't he shoot a paper plate every day or something?
Something like that. I think it was like was it like it's like one of those coffee plates.
Oh, yeah.
it was small.
Yeah. So, talking about, you mentioned training. Now, you started at 1 to 2 classes a year.
Yeah, at the most.
Now, the average person, not everybody has a lot of money, but,
yeah,
there's all different types of classes.
Mm-hmm.
So, say somebody on a budget that wants to train, what classes would you recommend training? Because a lot of people go buy ARs just because they can. It's out there.
Used to be that guy.
I have a few. I'm sure you have a few.
No,
not a few.
Because I'm not leaving a digital footprint. No.
Oh, no. Did they go down in a boat in a lake or something?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
I think some of mine did too.
Lost them all.
So don't have anything. So like what's a good entry level class, average price that you would say that would be
I
good
think
for somebody to take?
I think that,
and I'm going to ask you one more thing too. Fundamentals and range time. Balance. What?
Yes.
How would you balance that to the new shooter if you had somebody that was green or you had somebody that was experienced?
Yes. So actually, this is okay. So we're gonna try to peel the layers back because this is like
I gave you a lot.
It's like a blooming onion here of peeling layers upon layers upon layers. So, in fact, one student of mine, I'm gonna try to not use the word student because we're all students in this. I still am a student. I learned something from even my own classes when I encounter things from people all the time that I'm like, noted. Need to remember that about some people, and it's not that it happens a lot. It's actually pretty rare. But let's start from the top of how many classes are good for you in a year. Here's something you have to ask yourself when you find that number: how much time are you willing to put in on your own? So after you've taken the class, how much time are you going to take on your own time to practice what you've been taught? Now, here's the thing. Learning something in a class isn't the same. Training and practice isn't the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to a training class, you're learning some new things so that you can practice on your own. It's like a piano teacher. Hey, go home and practice scales on the piano. And you get to playing the scales, you're like, this is boring. But if you can't do scales on a piano, I promise you will pretty much drain the life out of you trying, and you'll drive your piano teacher mad because eventually they're going to say, we appreciate you keep giving us money, but you're not getting anything because you're not practicing on your own time. So there is a balance of, hey, I've taken a class, now what? Okay, dry fire practice. That's a key element. Actually doing some live fire occasionally. I don't mean go to the range and dump 200 rounds, 300 rounds. My range time now that is, it's both therapeutic, but it's also keeps me sharp on some things. A box, 50 rounds. I can accomplish more in that 50 rounds than what I used to call, prior to my years of really getting into training, guys, we used to do this thing called a social shoot. Group of friends gets together. Oh, I know it sounds.
You want to go to the range?
It sounds like you want to go to the range, just blow something up, and we just dump just hundreds of rounds.
Steel down the range.
I mean, all kinds of things. Hey, anybody got any tannerite? And you just, you blow stuff up, and you're just basically, it's like a toilet for ammo. You're just flushing ammo, and you're not getting anything out of it. Is it fun sometimes? Absolutely. But if you don't go to the range with purpose and an agenda, it's a waste.
Okay, and so, having said that, I'm going to ask another question.
Okay.
When you load up and when you're practicing, do you load a full mag or do you only load so many rounds?
See, that's the thing. So I just take the box.
Right.
So when I'm going down to actually do some of the live fire stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So depending on my agenda, and I do have a written agenda, I like to take a note and write down this is what we're going to do. If it's going to be holster draw, draw one shot. If I'm working really on that presentation and that whole draw stroke, I'll go down there with a full mag, at least one full mag to start with, right? And go through a full mag doing that. And again, what does a full mag do? If you're low capacity and it's only 6 rounds, Glock 43, you may want to take 2. I like to get 12 reps in from holster draw to start with. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that's all my holster draw is for the day. Other drills that I do, my holster draw is still being done, but it's less in the spotlight. If that makes sense. If I'm working on target transition, but I'm still working from the draw, my focus now is shifting. I should be able to do the draw subconsciously, and now I'm working specifically on what my eyes are doing to target transition, right? There's things of that nature that, again, I think if you just have an agenda. Now, the question somebody's probably typing or has already typed, Jeremy, what if my range doesn't allow drawing, especially from appendix? Now, some places you can earn a card, right? You can earn a draw card, and that's from the hip.
Okay.
Look, we get this too. In our classes, we get guys with drop leg holsters, and I in my head, I'm going, okay.
You carry that out with you.
They don't carry like that. Yeah. So it's not that I'm making fun of you, but I'm also saying, hey, these are defensive skills. Carry how you would carry. That's what I encourage the most.
And practice that draw from that
and
carry
practice
position.
the draw. I can name a deadly incident where dude lost because his holster draw sucked. He'd also just put on a new holster and new gun that morning, and he lost.
That's scary.
He lost. But go with a written agenda. And now, what I was saying was the holster draw thing. If you can't do that, work your presentation from where your hands would come together. So I like to say that somewhere up in front of you, your workspace, we call it a lot of times. But I like to say that my holsters, from my draw, my hands come together in somewhere in about an 18-inch circle, like a basketball-sized area. Somewhere right in here, center line of my body, my hands are coming together to form the master grip on presentation. So you can, and an indoor range will absolutely allow you to do this. I haven't found a range yet that won't allow you to do this. But have kind of a broken grip. So if dominant hands on the gun, master grip with dominant hand, and I've already got this hand like karate chopped right underneath it. So my grip is broken right here. It's broken down. So on presentation, I'm rolling into my master grip, and I'm just trying to bring the gun to the same spot every time. I'm going to make a Call of Duty reference here.
Okay.
This is great.
Kimbo?
So no, that's right. But the thing that actually resonates with the younger generation, when I get younger guys in there, and I almost say kids, because to us they are kids. But when we get guys in there that are 35 and younger, who know what Call of Duty is, they know if they pull the one trigger to bring up the gun and get down on their sights, they know what I'm talking about. How many of you would rage quit that game if you brought your gun up and your dude sat there and shuffled it around to find his sights? Meanwhile, the 6-year-old on the other end killed you because you were shuffling around trying to find your sights. You would rage quit in a hurry. So my biggest thing is, like, on presentation, if you're not seeing your sights every time, that means your presentation, we got to work on your presentation a little bit. Look at what you want to hit and bring your sights right up into your vision, right? So working from here to there, doing that at home with a sticky note on the wall and a very empty gun, by the way, for dry fire, very beneficial. Stuff like that is very beneficial when it comes to being able to do stuff like, what can you do at the range? What can you not do at the range? I get it. Not everybody's got a good backyard to go do all their tactical training, right? But
you talk about finding sights, and that was something that I mentioned, and I actually had gotten from one of your videos, iron sights or red dot. That's a big question. So
are you asking me which one?
I
like to answer this.
Okay. And in training, so like people that come to your classes, I'm right now better with iron sights than I am with the red dot.
It's a learning curve, for sure.
Yes. Now, I like the red dot because you put it on and it hits. Normally, depending on your pull, you
still got.
You still have to have your.
There's some things there. There's a lot of, again, that you could just peel upon.
Yeah, right. But well, in the perfect world, that's what would happen. But you've experienced this a lot. New shooters yourself.
Yep.
What do you like? What would you rely on?
All right, so here is the biggest thing, and I'm not saying unsighted shooting, so let's be careful. I'm not saying unsighted, but you might know where I'm going with this. So the biggest thing is I think everybody should learn on iron sights. I think everybody should learn the fundamentals of shooting with iron sights to start with. Tinker around with a red dot later. Here's a crazy thing. When I first started in 2021, I didn't have one pistol with a red dot. Okay? I was shooting IDPA. I was shooting all these things. No red dot. In fact, I made fun of the assistant instructor I had at the time because he had a red dot. I was like, it's a cheating device. And in your head, you're going, cheating device? There's no rules in a fight. It's whoever wins, wins. There's no such thing as cheating. And if a red dot makes you faster and makes you more accurate, I won, sucker, right? So, but we used to go back and forth. We had a pretty good time with that because I could shoot really dang well with irons, and it's not that I still can't. I still can. Here's something crazy, though. I put one red dot on a pistol that I just wanted to take up to IDPA and try it.
How much practice did you do before with that red dot?
Not enough. I was like, let's see how this goes. I mean, it was actually, to be perfectly honest, I was looking for a reason to go, see, red dots are crap. I was like, it's a gimmick. Don't give me that. So I went up there, and here's the crazy thing. And when I say I hadn't done, I did a little. Shot at the range, made sure it was zeroed. I did those kind of basics, right? But I get up there, shoot this IDPA match, and here's the craziest thing is I was able to better call my misses as they happened. Now here's a rule of thumb with IDPA. You see that
dot move on
you
your,
see that daggum
squeeze?
Dot move, okay? So here's the thing. Like, especially when you're shooting competitively, you're not supposed to be looking for hits as you're doing it. Shoot and go, man. Like, you're not looking for hits. Hits happen instantly. Don't look for the hits. You can be so much faster if you just go, 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 go. But I was seeing the red dot move ever so slightly a funky direction on my trigger press. That became a thing. Now, look, inexperienced shooters, you're not going to notice this right away. It's my favorite thing to do with inexperienced shooters right away is when they get one that they've yanked way down low left for a right-handed shooter. I mean, that's the most common thing we see, a low left out of right-hand shooter. That's general 101 knowledge of everybody. Everybody's done it. We've all done it. Lefties, you're pulling low into the right. It's because they're weird. Lefties are weird.
10% of the population, I think.
That's too much. No. Anyways, but the thing about that was, goodness, you talk about a squirrel just entered my brain and
red dot.
Yeah.
Pull, trigger pull
and see it move. Right. Here's what that did for me, though. Like, I did that, being able to call my shot, being able to see what the dot was moving through my trigger press. Oh, I was talking about what I want to do with newer shooters. Newer shooters, when they pull that one, and I ask them, hey, where was your sights? I'm going to use you. Where was your sights when this guy went off right here, but they were supposed to be hitting here? They go, oh, man, I had it in the center. I'm like, no, your sights were right here when the gun went off. And they have to come to the conclusion that, yeah, I did move the gun through that. So here's the crazy part, guys, is that stuff that I didn't notice as shooting with irons. But the other thing I didn't notice was, like, I wasn't a bad shooter with irons. I was shooting really good. I was finishing at some local club matches, 40-something shooters, and I was finishing in the top 15 with irons. And I was beating people that were using red dots. So that was, again, just more ammunition for me to knock on red dots. Ask me today how many pistols I have with red dots.
All of them?
Not all, but, because red dots are expensive.
Oh,
I mean, I sometimes go into the store and go, I'm here for a red dot. I'm here for a red dot. And I'm like, I could buy that gun now for the same price as a red dot, right? So, no, it was it was something like I went from one gun having a red dot, still carrying irons at that point. 3 or 4 guns. Okay, I think I'm ready to put one on my carry gun. Guess what I did with that carry gun? Because now, let's just get this out of the way. I have duplicates of my carry gun. I'll answer that question why here in a minute. But what I did with that one that I put a red dot on is that was what I was training with at the range, doing classes with, practicing the most with, but I was carrying irons. Why? Because I was not ready to carry a red dot confidently. I wasn't just slapping a dot on there going, it's zeroed, okay, I'm good. No, I wanted to get really dang good at practicing with it at the range with training and in my own time. And it wasn't till, again, probably I had a top 7 finish at an IDPA match. I was like, I'm there. I'm the master. So actually, I'm not the master, but still, it was a really good finish. And so I went, you know what? I can be fast and accurate with this thing. I'm confident with it. I know how to present and see my dot immediately. You know, there's the fishing for it. We all see this. You know, your wrists are moving all over the place, especially for beginners. That's why I hate doing with beginners with a red dot right away, is because they will press and then they start moving the gun around because they've lost the
It's
dot.
almost like
now
they
they're
don't have the
chasing the dot.
fundamentals.
Yes, yes. If your presentation sucks, your red dot will not make you faster.
Then the other thing too, if you are ever in a situation and your gun goes down and you have to pick up another one,
Yeah,
and it doesn't have a red dot on
yeah.
it,
What then?
do you know how to use it?
What then? Actually, I'd been to a class at Patriot Training. Another plug. Sorry, not sorry. But they did there was a drill in there where, no joke, you went down the line, fired 2 shots into your target, put your gun down on the ground, moved to the next person who was next to you, their gun is down on the ground, and everybody cycled through everybody's guns. The whole purpose there, obviously, to see what everybody, like, how can you out? And then there'd be a couple where they'd be like, they forgot there was a thumb safety, or there'd be things like that. They're just not used to it. And it was not meant to be like an in-your-face moment. It was really a teachable moment of, you know, what happens if you had to pick up a different gun? What happens if your tool did go down? What happens if, God forbid, your handgun itself malfunctions, as a catastrophic malfunction? It's a dead man's gun. I will tell you right now, I fired a P365 to its breaking point. I finally had a P. I've heard people talk about them breaking. I've had thousands of rounds through multiple P365s and never had problems. That's not the same case for everyone. People encounter problems. In fact, a trainer, a friend of mine, he always films when one of those go down because he just thinks it's funny. It is what it is. But the thing is, there is like, when mine went down, there was no clearing a malfunction, guys. This was the trigger spring, the return spring reset was busted. It was cooked. You can sit there, the trigger's just dangling at that, and so no, there, all you have something is you can throw it at them. That's it. So being able to manipulate other guns, be able to operate guns with iron sights in its most basic form, I think is a necessity to, when you say fundamentals, I want you to be fundamentally sound with iron sights before we move you up to a red dot. Now, that's not to say that someone may gets to shooting pretty well. Maybe they got pretty good presentation, but maybe they're struggling because their eyesight. We're getting older. I hear that red dots are amazing for people that, you know, this whole having to focus front sight, see this blurry, see that blurry, focus on target, this is blurry. I hear all that, and here's the thing with a red dot. No, you're target focused. That's the only thing you need to be staring at, and you're just taking your red or green or gold blob and putting it over the target and superimposing over the target, and that's it. It can be very helpful there. Not saying that it's not helpful at all. They're very helpful. The only thing I would say, if you're asking red dot or irons in a stressful situation, I would say the biggest thing there would be, if your threat is 5 yards in front of you, you shouldn't need it.
Yeah.
If you've got good presentation, some of these guys that have sub-second draw, you think they really see their sights that much?
No, I from my experience with my draw, I draw and I can hit that first shot.
Yeah.
I can hit that little 9 mark, you know.
Right.
The follow-up shot,
sometimes that's where people fall apart. It's funny because a lot of people actually have struggle on that first shot. Sometimes the first shot's thrown, and then they reel in the next 2 or 3.
The first shot is muscle memory.
See, that's a sign of some good presentation skills there. Like, not suggesting this, but No, won't even mention that. I'm just going to leave that one alone. There's something there that I'm like, that's too controversial. I'm not going to put that out there. But everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
That'll be in the behind the scenes footage.
Next episode.
That's right. There we go. But the people oftentimes don't, they underestimate how important the presentation part of it is. They go, oh, I'll find my sights when I get there. No. Present the gun with purpose. Push the gun out, ready to be used immediately. If you're having to find sights, moving around to find iron sights or find your red dot, green dot, whatever it is, you're dead. It's got to be that quick. You got to be that quick on it.
I know I use a pink rhino, it's called,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a laser strike.
Yeah.
So I'll use that a lot and practice the draw and hit. And I can, like I said, I can get that first one. But now, once you actually get the recoil, that'll throw off your next shot if your grip is not sound.
So that leads me into dry fire. So the biggest mistake we see in dry fire, at least I have seen in dry fire, is people, they know the gun's not going to go off. They know it's just going to be a click. So what do they naturally do? They don't hold on to the gun as tight as they normally would. So when they get to a class, Jeremy, I've done like 300, dry reps this week. Cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. And the first and 2 and 3 shots, they're thrown completely off because they're like, this thing is popping more than usual. You must be some hot rounds. Or you're just not grabbing the gun the way you should be. Your hand should be death gripping that thing in dry fire. In fact, if you get done, it's like working out. It really is. After lifting some weights or something, you feel a little exhaustion. Not just from like when we do live fire stuff. Yeah, there's going to be fatigue by the end of the day, weather elements, all those things. But when you're dry firing, at the end of it, your hand should feel like you've done some serious like grip things, right? Because otherwise, how you treat it in dry fire is how you're going to treat it when you get out on the range for the first few. Or it's how you're going to treat it when you get in that crazed situation. So yeah,
I'll tell you something that really gets you going is that shot timer.
Brain scrambling device. For a lot of people, it is. When you hear that, I can remember my first few times, man. I'd be like, I got my own. I'm shooting my couple first IDPA matches. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Run here, run there, do this, beep. And you're fumbling all over yourself. Like, people don't like posting videos of themselves fumbling. I have several videos in my archives that I have released and said, look at this clumsy move. And it's not to it is a little bit to make fun of myself, but it's also be like, this is what's going to happen to you when you get dumped under adrenaline and you get pushed into a crisis situation. The saying is, well, look, we hear in the training world all the time, the saying is you're going to fall back on whatever your highest level of consistent training. And there's truth to that. I mean, I didn't get good at shooting IDPA by going, okay, I'm going to shoot my next IDPA match, and I'm not going to do any IDPA exercise stuff till my next IDPA match. No. It was go to the IDPA, do the thing, realize where my screw-ups were, go home and practice and dry rep that stuff. That's the only way you get better. And that's true at everything. Like I mentioned piano earlier. If you're not doing the things, basketball, if you're not doing the things to get
shooting
better.
From all around the course.
Yeah. Those guys you see at warm-up, and they got their headphones on, and they're getting their mind right, and they're shooting, and then they go over there and they sit down for a few minutes, and you just see their head doing this. Sometimes they're just looking straight down, and maybe their eyes are closed. They're also building a mindset to perform when they need to perform. See themselves doing the thing before actually doing the thing. So it all goes together. I don't. It's not to make fun of, but it is a sad time to see how many people think that they go to 2 or 3 classes a year and then don't do anything else in between. Sure, keep coming back. I mean, we'll take your money, but I'm not getting you where I want you to be if you aren't putting in some of your own time to practice these things. It's true.
Yeah, I know. Through another instructor, that's how I learned to do the draw.
Yeah.
And kind of, the chamber, how every move is a step.
Yep.
And that's one thing I need to practice more often.
Yeah.
I do practice it, and you'll notice you're rusty when you don't. Now, and
Especially
then,
use a shot timer, you find out how slow you're going.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, one of my instructors I went to, and then we did the church class.
Yep.
And I hadn't used the shot timer since that class. So, you're getting in your mind, okay, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, and you're getting yourself ready, and you can get good at that. But let's be honest, in the real world situation, there is no shot timer.
There's no shot timer. What is the trigger out there? What is the threshold? Sometimes you'll have time. Some cases you might have time to maybe get to cover, maybe get to a safer vantage point where you can assess before you get a gun out. Some people are like, why wouldn't you get your gun out immediately? I was like, well, because there were shots fired. Everybody around you heard the shots. Then suddenly you're going to pull a gun, and now the other good guy thinks the shots came from you. We don't want none of that. I mean, obviously, you're given literally fractions of seconds to react if it's right in front of you. But if it's further away, hey, you're not a cop. Your job is not to go hunt it down. And if my family is with me, I'm not running back in. I got my family. My family's with me. Another buddy of mine, instructor buddy of mine, who put on a really cool class outside of Nashville a few years ago. Incident response or some kind of class called that. I mean, it was a fancy name. We all kind of try to think of gunfighter pistol, whatever. Hey, that's one of my classes. Watch it now. Anyways, but it was one where we talked about, hey, the scenario at the end of the day, the culmination drill was you're at a movie theater, you step out to go to the bathroom. Everybody has been to a movie theater. You know what that's like. You step out of the bathroom or out of the theater, go down the hall, go to the bathroom. You come out, and all you come out to is you've heard some pretty loud shots that didn't sound like it came from a movie. That's the other thing. And people are now pouring out of that theater. If I didn't have anybody else in the theater with me, 100%, I'm running with them and getting out of there. But if my family was in there, and I don't know if they've already run by, I don't know. But if there's any chance they're still in there, yes, I'm going back in. Clearly. So you can peel millions of layers of what if on that, but yeah, the seconds count. Being able to get the gun out consistently every time is important. Making sure it's reliable. Oh, look, I could say this ism. Some of y'all may have heard it. Is it consistent? Is it reliable? Is it repeatable? That's a 3-word thing. Is it robust? To quote Mickey Shook, that's not mine. That's not mine at all. But those are some things that stand out in your mind. And once you start to wrap your head around that, you know that you need to practice some more with things and get it to the point of. Here's the other thing. Beginners, as a beginner, we like to be able to practice something so many times until we get it, and we get it that 1 or 2 times, and we're like, sweet, move on to the next thing. Whereas an expert is like, no, or somebody who's really deep diving this stuff says, I want to do it where I can't do it wrong. I want to get to where I can do it 10 times in a row or 15 times in a row with nothing wrong. That's what builds the consistency that we absolutely need to have. So
you need consistency if your life depends on it.
Yeah.
What's the one saying? If you're not shooting, you're moving. If you're
wait, look, this is actually the guy that I quoted there actually met the guy who spoke this, but it's like, if you're not shooting and moving or shooting and maneuvering, you're being maneuvered upon. So yeah, there's that. I don't know if that's the same quote you were going for.
If you're not moving, you're shooting. If you're not shooting, you're reloading.
There's
if
that.
You're not reloading,
there's that.
Something. I don't know.
It botched. I got mine right, but that he didn't know.
Yeah, I'm not an instructor. I'm just.
No, don't give me that. Don't give me that. So no joke. Seriously though, you say that, but I am just as much a student as anybody else. If you've met an instructor at all that says, I got it all, that is an indicator of I probably wouldn't go train with that person. The second thing would be that guy needs to hang it up. I promise you, the day that I go, I have nothing new to offer, I'm stuck in my old ways, I'm stuck in a rut, that's the time that I need to tap out. That's when I need to be like, you know what? I'm good at what I do, but I am no longer fit to be doing this and telling people how to do things. If you're just stuck in a one way is the way.
There's a lot of different ways, a lot of different instructors. I mean,
look, they're a dime a dozen now. Like you search for it. If you're on social media, I can't tell you. Maybe just because it's everything that I post is now that's flooded with hey, become a, what is it, Hive, is a Hive instructor, Tactical Hive or something like
I
that.
think so.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a company that years ago, I mean, I don't know how new they are, how old they are. I don't know much about them because they're fairly new to the scene. You know, in my day, it was NRA or USECA was the way. That those were the two major companies to go with, organizations to go with. But now you can find instructors out there, and some of them, you know, they hold the certifications and they may do one or two classes a year, or that it's truly just a side gig for them. Or you get some like me that's dabbling in it as more of a, goodness, I started with it calling it part time. It still kind of is, but it turns into full time when it comes to advertising, getting your brand out there, and continuing to stay up with the times. I tell people when they come to class, especially, you could take defensive pistol, March of the year, and by the end of the year, November, the last one, we will have changed some things. And it's because we see the type of shooters coming through, one of the two like that, or it's that we found another way to do things that resonates more with the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, here's a better drill that's going to combine two skills into one drill, you know, and maybe that class can handle that better. You know, we adjust on the fly, and that's, I think, important for any instructor. But seriously, you find an instructor that says, "Hey, I got it all," that is like a red flag to me. I may go there once,
Yeah.
just to try it,
Maybe
right?
you can learn something.
Yeah, it's like trying
Maybe.
the new restaurant. Oh, I definitely will learn something. I will steal something. That's the thing,
Write it
right?
down and tell them.
That's right. But anyways, so yeah, it's been a wild ride, but I'm liking where we're at. We're actually celebrating 5 years this year.
It's awesome.
November will be 5 years, and I mentioned earlier that my wife is instructing with us now. My other instructor, I have to brag on him for a minute because he was there at the start. His name's Chris. This dude was a living, breathing, real Martin Riggs of Lethal Weapon. I kid you not, lived in a camper. This man dry fired a Glock till it broke. I'd come out. No, it gets better. I'd come out to the range. We're kind of going over some things that we want to do for the class. We're gonna go through the drills, walk through them, and then we're gonna do some of our own stuff that we just need to keep up each other on and be accountable. I get out there, and he is shooting B8s. Familiar with B8s? I mean, they yay size target with black circle, 8, 9, 10 rings are in the black. You got the reds and whatever. B8 targets. Google it. And he is shooting at 25 yards with his Glock with no sights.
No sights.
No, he's taken the sights off. There is no iron sights. There's no red dot. And he is shooting. Now, was it perfect? Absolutely not. But all of his shots were on paper.
That's pretty good. No sights.
No sights, 25 yards. And so there was that. Look, there's several other things he did that just reminded me of Riggs from Lethal Weapon. No, he was not suicidal at any point. Let's just clear that up right now. But like the dude, like as much as the Riggs was in touch with his Beretta that he had in that movie and how good he was at what he did, that was this dude. And he got us started. But then after he had to move away, my wife wanted to get involved somehow. And the reason she wanted to get involved is because she wanted to show women that this male-dominated industry that we are in, she needed to show women, and we need to open the doors to women to get involved with this, to show them that they can be capable, they can do these things. She is shy about what she knows. She knows a lot, but she's shy about it because her thing is she's certified nurse midwife first and foremost. She's the medical field is her thing. So actually having her on board with that has helped develop us in other things. We started out not offering any medical skills. We now stop certifications for Stop the Bleed. Later on, CPR is coming, so that's fantastic stuff. But man, like there's just so much that, and then to have my wife out there with me, that is cool. And then people love seeing that because we have a domestic disturbance out there on the range. Two of us, we get into it, and we have to walk 10 paces. Just kidding, we don't do that. But it is great to have her alongside me with that. Mainly for the reason, like, it's true. I think women need to be just as capable. That's just we men like to say we will protect, we protect. There are times when you're not home. There's time when we might be out of town. I want to know that my wife can manipulate an AR-15 or can manipulate whatever handgun she chooses to carry. I want to know that she's capable. Creepy to me is my wife can shoot really freaking good, and she doesn't put in near the live fire time that I do. And it actually is frustrating me. Oh, side story. I'll chase. Look, this. We took an NRA basic pistol instructor course. There's certification for the shooting portion of it. I took it with Akil Kadir. Look him up. He's at Citizen Safety's Academy in Murfreesboro. Phenomenal instructor. Phenomenal pedigree. We're talking about a dude who works with Tom Givens. So Tom Givens, like, if I had a Mount Rushmore of some dudes, Tom Givens would be up there. Akil Kadir doing this NRA pistol class. Love the guy. The guy is amazing. He knows a little bit of background from me from Patriot training because he's close friends with the owner of Patriot training. So it's a nice circle that we got going there. But we're in the pistol shooting portion of this for the live fire certification. I shoot mine. Of course, if you don't shoot well, you don't pass, which is good. We don't need instructors who can't do the shooting. We need you to be able to shoot. So I shoot that part. My wife was at the opposite end. We did that on purpose. Of course, my heart was thumping because I was like, I hope she gets this. Like, I was genuinely slightly concerned. If she heard me say that right now, if she was in this room, I would be dead. But I was slightly concerned in a good way. I was like, I know she can do it. I know she can do it. And then Akil comes walking down the line. He comes down there. He says, pretty good. He says, you know she's got you beat, right? I said, what? And I thought he was just jerking my chain. He's like, no, her groupie's way better. And I went, no, I'm shooting this. She's like, you passed, but you can shoot again if you'd like. And I said, I would. Hey, I take one peek back there. She's already sitting down. She's like, I don't need to shoot anymore. So I'm like, no, I will shoot again. Of course, now she's kind of slightly concerned, like, oh no, he's shooting again. Does that mean he didn't pass? I shot it again. He comes back down and says, I mean, I was bothered. Hey, we did the classroom portion. You know, everybody that was kind of hey, if you pass the first time, you don't need to worry about it at the end. So they're going to give everybody one last shot at the end, right? I already passed. We did the classroom portion. We go back the next day, last little testing, you know, all that kind of things. And we go back and do the live fire portion. And he says, if you already passed, you don't need to shoot. Mm-hmm. Terry goes and sits down. I look at him and said, I'm going to shoot again. He's like, I knew you would. I mean, we're talking, man, I'm like, no, I'm locked in, man. I'm zoned in, right? I shot it 2 more times. He walks by and says, nice try. She took home from this class top shot in an instructor class. And I'm like, ooh. And everybody in the class knew that we ran Middle Tennessee Firearms Training, and they knew I was like the main. And they're like, maybe Terry should be the main person.
Can she show me how to shoot?
I'm telling you, man, like she's a really good shot. And she shot IDPA a couple times. I finally got her. She did that. She hadn't done it in a long time, but she did that. And, you know, was it fast? No. But was she capable of target transitioning and getting good hits? Yes. And I feel a lot better knowing that is left home with my kids when I need to go out and do something. I know there's someone there capable. Right. I know there's also someone there who's built a mindset around that. So that is a big part of it. But
now you have a few guns at home.
No.
So I'm sure there's some that are inexpensive, some that are more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, okay, now when I was at your class,
mm-hmm.
I shot a cheap gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think I shot pretty well with it. I think it was reliable. I mean, that gun was like $299.
Yeah.
You know, so it was inexpensive.
I've had some what I would call budget-friendly guns over the years. By the way, before anybody, I know there's going to be some out there that they know me close. They know that I have some Gucci stuff. They do. Okay, I'll admit, I have some Gucci stuff. Those were times where I literally was just going to splurge and say, no, I want this to be BA. I want this to be the thing.
The Desert Eagle.
Yeah, I wish I had one of those. I just can't justify it. My wife would shoot me with it. But anyways.
Yeah, if you can afford the round.
Right. So that's just it. I would buy the gun. She'd probably go out and buy the bullet to kill me with it.
You spent how much?
Right.
They're only like $2,200.
So what are you asking here? You is there some? Are you asking me if
Well,
I'm knocking on budget friendly guns?
no, I'm just saying, I think will it run? Does it run?
Yeah,
Is it going to fire? Is it going to malfunction? If it's going to malfunction, then
you know,
again,
because a high point, they'll run, but I think you're going to encounter some malfunctions along the way, right? We could joke about it and say, well, how many malfunctions? Like, if somebody came into a gun store and I was working there and they said, hey, what gun should I get? And they don't even give me a dollar figure first, and I say, how many malfunctions do you want to clear? Now, that is a terrible way to say it. Here's what I'm going to say. I think there are some very reliable, good, solid, budget-friendly guns out there. I could name one that actually, I don't like the trigger. The trigger to me is absolutely trash, but the gun ran reliably. And it's that Ruger, is it the Max 9? It's the Max 9. Look, I was able to pick that up on a deal for like less than $380. And it's a 12 round pocket. I mean, it was really, if I could think about this, I got my memory right, but I believe this is Ruger's answer to a P365 and a 43X. This was kind of Ruger's like take on that little skinny double stacked gun. And I got one because I was curious. Like, this is the market where I'm training people. People are asking me about guns. What should I get? This, that, and the other. I need to know a little bit about this gun. Look, I got 700 rounds or more into that gun, and my biggest complaint was the trigger. I had the trigger lock up on me some weird ways. Maybe that was my hands. Maybe that was the way me indexing with the trigger. I don't know, because the trigger sat really far forward. I have smaller hands. I don't know. There's other people hundreds of people, thousands of people that have commented on the video review I did of that. Now it's north of 30-something thousand reviews.
Oh, nice.
Views, which is crazy. But it's because, here's why. It's because that gun is very budget friendly, and it is also very reliable.
And that's my other thing. Okay, my budget's not huge.
Yeah.
And with children and things.
Yeah, things are expensive.
Does your money go toward guns or braces?
Dude, my kids started the braces process. Oh,
pallet expander?
Yes. Yeah. Crank that once a night. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Look, people with kids, most of my big, awesome gun purchases were pre-third kid. Like,
big gun,
most of them actually probably would happen after I just had one kid. Like, we still got some funds. Second kid, it turned into, oh no, we might have one good gun purchase this year, maybe. Then it became, well, if I've got some extra funds, I need the ammo. I mean, I get it. That is a real thing. So, yeah,
inexpensive gun, reliable. What would you recommend under $500? Because I mean,
so here's the funny, tricky part. Shop around a good bit, because there's actually some guns that when they first released, they were north of 450 and north of 500. A lot of these, like I'll use the P365 as an example, because they've now done 20 different variants of a P365 now. They went from a P365 to a P365 XL, P365X, P365 with a macro. Then they've got the fuse, and they've got variants on the fuse now, and there's so many of them. But guess what? You can now find a P365, the originals, like the OG ones. You can find those actually right around $400 if you look hard enough. $450 even. If I was gonna say, like, my experience on things, look, a Hellcat when I got one was $450. Now, what was your price point you were looking to stay south of?
Say under 500.
Yeah, the Hellcat that I purchased, that actually Springfield Armory did. They, you know how many times a year they do their little extra magazine rebate thing? Like, it's crazy. You buy the gun, they send you 3 extra mags. Boom, now you've got 5 or 6 mags.
Magazines are not cheap.
Magazines are definitely not cheap, especially if you own a P365. You ought to know right now they're $50 and $60 a piece, which is nuts. Now, Glock. Look, let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay, here, I'll make some people mad. Glock makes a great gun, and I'm not going to say anything bad about a Glock. But if you own a Glock, you might as well buy a pony. You have a ponytail, because Yeah,
Wow.
that's what they're great guns. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the fad. Everybody, oh, I'm gonna get a Glock. I'm gonna get a
All
Glock.
right, so let's talk Glock
How
for
many
a
Glocks
second.
do you have?
I'm counting. I'm counting. Hold on.
Okay, let's just move on.
8, 9, somewhere in there. Now here's a reason for that. Let me give a reason.
They're not bad guns, and I'm not saying
They're definitely
bad
not
guns.
bad guns. Like no, you're not going to hear me throw shill at Glocks unless we start talking about their sights. We'll get to that in a minute. I have probably the top 15 guns on the market for carry. For carry, let's get that out of the way. And the reason I have them is because again, back to product knowledge, being able to advise people, especially when they come to a class. You know, maybe they're using. Look, I had people coming through with the SIG 938s, P238s. These were single action, miniature 1911s. I mean, micro 19. All the same operations as a 1911, but in a 380 form, and people trying to get their gorilla hands around this little gun. It reminds me of Men in Black with Will Smith with the little midget cricket. Yeah, the little cricket thing. And there's a point where the gun will only perform as well as you're capable with it, and sometimes a gun can affect that based on you being able to hold on to the gun and all those things. I'm chasing one there, but we're talking about Glocks.
There's just so many other guns you can choose.
There's a lot of guns you can choose. Here's why people jump on Glock. Shadow Systems.
H&K.
I've had a Shadow Systems. Glock is the most well known for several reasons. One, we've seen it in hundreds of movies.
And you can buy a magazine for $9.99.
Like, and you can buy the magazines dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But like post like the 80s and early 90s action flicks, there was a transition to Glocks. Like that became a thing in movies. And then on top of that, a lot of police departments start using them. Then you start hearing about the reliability, the history of it there. And look, they are probably some of the most reliable handguns on the market. Now, I said this because I just got a Gen 6 Glock 19 like 2 days ago. How long until you're going to post this?
Throwing out your hair?
Yeah. How long until you're going to post this?
I don't know. Probably.
I just saying, my wife doesn't know about it yet.
Oh. How many days you need?
It should be fine.
Okay.
All right, anyways, so I say this, Glock finally did something with the Gen 6 Glock that I'm not knocking Glock, but I'm kind of knocking Glock. I have nothing against Glocks. If you shoot well with it and you are able to do things with it and you train with it, by all means, use it. I don't care. It's not for me. That's why there's so many different guns out there, because not all guns are created equal. And by equal, I don't mean what they're capable of doing. The vast majority of handguns out there, guys, can outshoot us. If we did not screw the gun up, the gun will outshoot us. It's true. We are the ones screwing it up when we throw a shot. Aftermarket parts, a lot of them sometimes can throw shots and actually hurt your accuracy. Now, that's not true for all. I'm chasing one there, but back on Glocks. Glock finally did a grip texture upgrade, and they actually did that grip texture on more places on the gun. Phenomenal. They extended the beaver tail. Phenomenal. I don't know what they did with the internals. I didn't read that deep. I'm not a Glock fanboy. But a lot of what Glock did is stuff that I would have expected Glock to do a decade ago. And here is why. The vast majority of handguns out there, Springfield Armory, Sig Sauer, outside of the P320 Escapade, I won't even visit that. But like Sig Sauer with their P365s, Springfield Armory, I said, Smith & Wesson. Hey, I tell you a hot one right now. Smith & Wesson Shield X.
Yeah, I heard good things.
That is a fine shooting gun. And look, reliability from a lot of those companies, manufacturers, Ruger, they're very reliable guns. They're very reliable. So I don't think you can just say, well, I'm about to buy a Glock because it's reliable. Here's why. Another reason. Glock's parts, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Glock magazines, they're everywhere. It's easy to service. There's somebody who knows how to work on a Glock within a mile of your house, more than likely.
It's like your Chevy 350 small block.
It really is. Everybody can work on it, and they're, again, it's not a bad gun. Now, one thing I would knock on their new Gen 6 is, for the love of all that is good, put a flippin' high vis front sight on there. Don't make me go buy it after I've spent $600 some odd on your new Gen 6 model that sounds cool.
Can't be that much more expensive.
No, it can't. It can't. And you can't tell me if you put it on there and you want to charge another $100, people will pay it. But unfortunately,
yeah, right.
But give me some high vis front sight on your iron sights there, and I will actually speak more. I have nothing against Glock. I really don't, except for those sights. Like that sucks. I hate that.
I just say everybody owns them.
Everybody's got one.
Everybody has a Glock.
Like it's like a Honda Civic. Like everybody's got a Honda Civic. It's either rotting in your backyard or you've customized the heck out of it in your front yard, and it's not a Honda Civic anymore. It's a Shadow Systems. I mean, that's basically what we've come to, right? So I probably said some things there that people are just going to roast. It's okay.
Well, controversy sometimes is good.
Yes.
Maybe it's somebody you got to watch these guys.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About my Glock.
They're arguing about my Glock.
Or just
freaking Glock shield,
Or just go buy a Palmetto State dagger. Same gun.
We have two. I have two at my house.
They're good.
They run.
Yeah.
Just be aware. I like guns like that. I just want to say, run the gun. Test the gun. Don't go buy some budget gun and then not put rounds down range with it and expect it. Take care of the gun. Know what maintenance updates. I mentioned earlier I shot a 365 till it finally broke. Look, in the manual somewhere in there, somebody's going to get me for quoting it wrong, but somewhere in the manual it says between like 3,500 rounds and 4,500 rounds, you're supposed to replace that spring.
Mm-hmm.
I had well kept up with how many rounds I had out of this pistol. I was well beyond that. So whose fault is that? This guy. The last drill of the day in a couples defensive pistol class, I fired the very last drill. It required a reload. So I fired through the whole mag, go to the new mag, pop it in, release slide, present, get one shot, and the trigger broke.
Dead trigger. So
I just would like for this is why it's important to test this stuff and check this stuff, guys. Here's why. Like what happens if I had shot that empty mag? Okay, I shot that mag to empty and I didn't reload there. Okay, and I didn't shoot it anymore. I had put my hollow points back in the gun, racked it, got around in the chamber, holstered up. Then I encounter an issue where I actually have to use it in an emergency situation. So this is another reason, guys, why I have more than one 365. And I have 3 set up identical so that I can use a couple in the training, and I have one that is really fresh, clean, lubed up, maintained. Do I test it every now and then? Absolutely I do. But for the most part, it stays holstered till it is needed. But I train with identical 365s.
Do you have one gun that you train with or shoot IDPA with?
I used to have like a bunch. Like I'd try like 4 or 5.
And do you consistently use the same one?
Yeah. So here's what I did for IDPA. For a long time, I would jump between a metal framed P320. Those were the X5. The X5 Legion was all the craze for a while till some P320s started doing some things. And then I actually tried shooting a Glock a couple of times. One time just for torture, I shot a 1911. My buddy, who the same night shot a 1911, ended up cutting his finger on a 1911. Oh, wow. We're just not used to running those guns that much. I mean, seriously, I don't train on 1911s that much. And but we ran it just for the fun of it, throwing 45s downrange. I mean, what's better than blowing a hole the size of a bowling ball through a cardboard target, right? So we do that, and it was fun. But I'd shoot multiples, but then it turned into it really came down to I really want to get so flipping good with my carry gun at that time with the 365 XL. I wanted to get so good with that I was beating people. There was more motivation than just to beat people, but beating people who are using what I call Star Trek phasers. These things look like they belong in a Star Trek movie. They look like a Star Trek phaser when on presentation, the dot and the size of the gun and all this crazy stuff on it. And I just wanted to be like, I could sit there and they're all like, what are you shooting with? 365 XL, nothing special. Like, dang, it's pretty good. Using like bug-sized gun, backup gun, against somebody's full-size Glock 17 that's been, I got this hairline trigger in it, and I've done all these other things to it, and it's got this cool red dot that's like, I don't know, it's got a magnifier on it. I'm joking, they clearly don't. But if they did, that's the next thing. Watch. They're going to be LPVOs on a handgun. Watch. I'm just joking.
It wasn't that from Escape from New York? Didn't he have like a big scope on it?
I think you're right. It's like those big
That
44 Magnums that they're hunting with, and they got these scopes on. Yeah. That's a big thing. But no, I got to the point where I just really wanted to train really hard with my carry gun because I wanted to be able to do all of the things subconsciously, so that in a moment when I really needed it, I'm not worried about, is my presentation right? Am I holding the gun right? Like, you know how many people get the gun out and they start to present and they start fixing their grip on the way out. And it's too late at that point. I wanted to have all that stuff, and we call it, you're freeing up bandwidth in your head. You're doing all that stuff subconsciously to where you're freeing up bandwidth to worry about what now is around you. Where's my threat? Where's non-threats? When we get caught up in doing these things on the range and it's just you and the target, what about the other 50 people around you in a real life setting parking lot? What about one of the universal rules of being aware of what's between you and your target, what's beyond your target, what's to your left and right, what's moving towards you as you're lining up your sights one way and could cross right at the time that you need to pull the trigger. You need to be aware of those things. And the only way you're going to be able to, I don't want to say increase awareness of those things, is not being worried about other things. Because if you have all that stuff, your brain's everywhere.
You know, and we talk about carrying, concealed carry, and things like that. You're on church safety team, and I am as well. How does that affect what you wear every day?
Oh, man. So you're talking to a guy that in the last 6 years, let me just take it back a little bit here. 6 years ago, I was carrying in a 4 o'clock position consistently. There was a reason for that. I was about 40-ish pounds heavier than I am right now. All right? So this is another thing that why I encourage firearms training on people, is because it will change your life for the better in a lot of ways. If you take just some of the fundamentals of what we're like, why are we doing some of the things we're trying to do, and apply those things, it will actually set in and affect other areas and aspects of your life. You know, we've heard the saying of like, We Were Soldiers is a good reference here, where Mel Gibson's sitting down with the guy and the guy who just had his kid, and they're praying in church right before, or before they're deployed or whatever, and he says, Mel Gibson says something along the lines of, I can only hope that if I'm good at one, it makes me better at the other. So he's talking about being a father or being a soldier. Mm-hmm. So I can only hope that being a good protector also makes me either a better father, or vice versa on that. Maybe I'm just a pretty good dad, but that also will then elevate me to be a better protector. I don't know, but it's good both ways. There's not a bad aspect of it. So when I got into training, I was at my 4 o'clock. I also realized I need to be capable of doing some things. This is how close that he and I are, is how close the vast majority of some of these violent encounters are. We say that all the time. It's a little, we can say the 3-3 rule, 3 seconds, 3 yards or less. We can talk that, but it really is, you need to be able to move and be able to do things. So I lost 40 pounds pretty quick over a 6-month period. No shots, nothing. It was all organic. But I got in such a shape that I said, you know what, I'm doing this also because I want to be able to get to my gun faster. I don't care what you say. I've seen guys who can. Chris, my first assistant instructor that we had, no joke, sub-second draw from appendix. I mean, guy could work it down to like 0.8, 0.81, which I know there's guys out there that probably could do a little bit faster, but he was doing that consistently. And then it got to the point where I'd have him demo in class, and I'd say, hey, man, I need you to slow down so people can see what you're doing. Like, slow down. And he'd say, okay, I'll go a little slower. And then he's like a 0.98, and I'm like, no, slow down. And he's like,
so they can see how you do the whole
motion.
You
do the whole motion. Like, I'm like, people are going to see that and they will automatically go, oh, I need to go that fast. Oh, you can't go that fast till you get the mechanics of it down and that sort of thing. Me, my sweet spot, look, I'm no sub-second guy. My sweet spot is right in that 1.25 to 1.3. That's where I'm at right now. Do I have days where I can push that limit and I'm really feeling it? Yeah, and I can push it down to like a 1.2, 1.119. Great. That's just where I am at. That's me. If I spent way more time practicing just that skill, yeah, we could work it down, absolutely. But then I divide my time and I have to do other things, and then life happens sometimes, and that's just where I'm at. It's my sweet spot. I don't mind. I'm comfortable sharing that, and I don't feel lesser that I can't do a sub-second draw. I know a lot of instructors who can't do sub-second draws, and they tell you the same thing. They're just comfortable with where they're at, and they know if they need to speed that up, they can, if they work on it. So that carry position for me changed. So I went from that 4 o'clock, I went to appendix. I had to learn a whole new draw stroke. By the way, once again, common theme here. When I changed how I wanted to carry, I did not just start carrying appendix one day, having never worked drawing from concealment and appendix. I didn't just go, hey, new holster. I'll give you what we've referenced it a couple times. That Texas church shooting where Jack Wilson had to stop him with one shot. I believe I showed your church safety team that. Mm-hmm. No joke, the man killed in that video. New holster, new gun. And if you watch the video, he has at least 3 seconds to get to his pistol before he's shot. And he's trying to get to it. Part of the thing is he was not in the best shape. That's one. Two, new holster, new gun, new position, it looked like. It looked like he'd never done it before. So, yeah. That was
sad scenario.
Sad scenario. It's one of those that, like, you hate to use it as that kind of example, but that was an eye-opener for me. And then, of course, other instructors, the positive impact they've had on me to, hey, just better yourself. That's what firearms training is about. It's about bettering yourself. Mm-hmm. And that, like I said, it spills over in all aspects of my life. So,
right. I mean, and we do this, not only as, say, like a hobby, but also as a means to protect our families.
Yeah. It's a cool hobby that actually, like, you can justify, right? Like, I need to go train, honey.
I'm doing this for you.
I'm doing this for you. That's good.
Right. So, hey, it's been great. I appreciate you coming out.
I appreciate you having me on. This has been fun, man.
It's been fun.
A lot of fun.
May have to do it again.
Do it again. Might have to. Hey, I'm all down for it. Like, hey, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We appreciate you tuning in. If you want to leave a comment, you agree, you don't agree,
hey, I'm stopping you there.
Oh, shoot. One more thing.
But wait, there's more.
That's right.
You want to do this?
You go ahead and...
Hey, I'm just going to throw this out there, guys. He can do some drawings for people who like and share. I have $25 rebate cards for any of the classes, so this is a shameless plug for me now. Middle Tennessee Firearms Training. Actually right here in the Murray County area and Murray County, Tennessee. Our range is actually just across the Giles County line, listed as Linville area, but it's not that far a drive. Was it 45 minutes from where we're at right now?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, and it's 25 minutes tops from Columbia, but he's got some $25 rebate cards. I've given him permission to give away $25 off any of our classes, and you reach out to us on our website, MiddleTennesseeFirearmsTraining.com. And then you've got something else over there that I'm giving away.
Tell us about this.
I'm going to tell you about this one because this is new. Now, this class is happening very soon. So if you don't post this in time, this really doesn't matter. So those are tickets. Those are tickets to an event we've got coming up. It's for school teachers, faculty, support staff, anybody involved in the school system that would like to come. But it is a 2-hour class of educators' prevention and response. So prevention being able to spot signs of potential violent encounters that may happen at school, whether it be an active shooter situation, and then how you respond to those active shooter situations. Guys, I've looked at the curriculum already. This is a living, breathing, developing thing from the USCCA. It is phenomenal stuff, and it's very much something that I have become more passionate about. We're making this go longer, but I'm about to drop a bombshell on you because I don't think you know about this yet. I am also now going to be school teacher in 2026. Everybody's like, wait a second, have they lifted the ban at the Chuck E. Cheese? You're allowed to go. No. Joking, maybe. But no, I'm going to be a PE teacher full time at my kids' elementary school, and then also, this is really cool. I will be teaching an elective at the high school level, 9th through 12th grade. Situational awareness, medical fundamentals. That's one semester. Okay. I know, right? This is going to be super cool. I'm super excited about it. And then the second semester, you know how Tennessee now has the law to every school should do firearm safety, right?
Yes, I think.
Okay, so public school, if I'm not mistaken, public school is just doing like a mini course. It's like the hunter safety course or it's some videos. It's something short, like less than a week long. how about 18 weeks of firearm safety? And then some field trips to the range to learn more about being safe, not just using or at the range, but also just basic firearm safety that you should have if you have guns in the house. Parents, if you've got guns in the house, educate your kids. Educate your kids.
I'll tell you, the earlier you educate them, almost the less interest they have in them a lot of times. Because my kids, I'll like, hey, you want to go to the range with me? They're like, no, I'm okay.
Nah, I'm okay.
I'm like,
my daughter says, I want to go to the range and shoot with you sometime. Okay, cool. I'm like, hey, I'm going to the range. You want to?
That's too hot.
I'm good. But it's true. Do you
Yeah.
take away this kind of this glowing fascination? You take that away if you're able to expose them, educate them, get them to the range, let them see what they do, guys. Like kids are at that age, like when they're at that age, they can soak it up like a sponge. And if you're not teaching them right, if they're not being taught right, they're soaking up bad stuff. It can lead to bad things. It can lead to accidents, and that's what we're trying to prevent. That's the whole point Tennessee passed that law, was to do this. A lot of this as a prevention measure. They're giving me 18 weeks. We are deep diving some firearm safety stuff for sure. So
awesome.
Yeah, so that's why I'm really
exciting.
passionate now about doing the educators part of it, because I'm very passionate about school teachers, especially being prepared for that, and then of course at church being a part of the safety team.
Protecting our children.
Yep.
Protect the future.
That's right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We appreciate you coming out, or coming out here, and listening.
Clicking it.
Just click on it. Hey, like, subscribe, whatever. Leave us a comment. That was one thing. Feedback is good.
I love feedback.
Yeah. So what can we do better? What would you guys like to see? What topics would you like us to talk about? We appreciate you. Like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll go ahead, if I can get it out. We'll go ahead and I'll leave your website in the link.
Yeah.
So you can follow Jeremy here on.
I'm also on YouTube.
Yes. So we'll leave a link to that too. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for your time. We appreciate you. God bless.